internets, I'm Michael and this is Toucan Play That Game with a review of Agamemnon from Osprey Games. So what is Agamemnon? Well, let's look at the box and, well, it's got a guy with like a Roman helmet. That tells us that it involves Romans. Yeah, again, it's cover art that's not really telling us much in this game, and I prefer when a game does give you more of an indication with the cover. However, it does also have this way of bringing you into the game because it makes you want to know what the game is about because you don't feel you know with the cover. So I can understand why they've done it. But what the game actually is, thematically, you are the Greeks and the Trojans during the Trojan War, and you are battling out this war to control the strings of fate to decide who will win. And the way you're doing that is by placing these little units, and they will then control the various strings, which are controlled in 3 different ways. Either having the most might, the most power, the most attack, which is represented by spears on your tokens, or by having just the sheer most tokens, or by having the best leader, and that's a singular best leader. It doesn't matter how many you've got, just whoever has the better leader on a string will win it. So it's very much an area control game with lots of different methods of area control. So that is what the game is. Now, if you want more detail on what the game is and how to play it, I have done other videos, so I will include links of those in the description. You can go check those out. But let's now move on to my actual thoughts and opinions on the game. Well, let's start with components. So the box is the typical, Osprey box. I quite like it keying into their roots with the whole book opening. But at the same time, it's actually a real pain on the table. Otherwise, though, as I say, I like that they've kind of got that keying into the book and their publishing background, the tokens, and that's the main thing in this game. There are a lot of tokens, are really high quality tokens, lovely, punch out really nice and easily, gloss, double-sided, absolutely fantastic tokens, no issues with those whatsoever. These little player aids, they feel a bit big, a bit flimsy. It is useful, it is information you need to help you make tactical decisions during the game though. So it is good to have them. The instruction manual. Yeah. Look at this thing. You have to fold it out. It's this giant thing, trying to reference this and read this at the table, and you've got the board on the table, drinks, etc. I don't like big rule books, and this isn't a book, this is a folded out leaflet, and that is still, it's huge, it's big, it's clumsy. I would rather have multiple pages in a smaller, easier to thumb through and handle format than this big sheet that it becomes. But that's my personal preference. But otherwise the rules are actually well written, very clear, easy to understand and learn the game from. Then the board is nice, good quality board, double-sided, which is nice to see, nothing wasted there. There's no, well, why didn't you put something else? You could have had something else on the other side. And they've done that in this. There are 2 different sides, which is nice to see. So, what do I think about the artwork then? Well, as I've already said, the box doesn't really have any artwork. The board doesn't have a lot of artwork, really. It's more iconography between the different things. It's more of a graphic design than it is an artistic design. Okay, the people are a kind of bit of artwork, but again, it's very basic, very small aspect of the game. There isn't a lot really to talk about artwork wise, but graphic design wise, it's all very clear, very functional. It's very clear where your spears are on these tokens, where your leaders, who's what. It is all very working well. So what do I think of the gameplay? Well, I actually think this is a really nice game. I just don't know how often I will actually get to play it. I'm planning on keeping it because I do enjoy it so much. It is an incredibly brain-burning experience for what is a very short game. It will play out in maybe 30 minutes But yeah, well, I say it'll play out in 30 minutes. It really depends on who you're playing with, because this game will so cause analysis paralysis. This is what I'm talking about with it, brain burning, because the way you have just turn over these tokens, right? What can I do with those? Well, that will allow me to control that. Who's got what left? Such problem solving, kind of decision making going on. It's fantastic for that in that brain burniness, but it does make it feel heavy. And the actual rules and gameplay are really simple, really quick, really easy to understand. But it's those strategic decisions, and it is so strategic with where you go, when you use things, how you use them. And then you can make it even more strategic, because the game has several variations in the rulebook. So if you don't like that small element of luck that there is in this, of flipping over the tokens, then you can mitigate it. You can mitigate it so that you split them into sections, so you know whether you're drawing a warrior or a leader or a special power. Or you can go even further and play the whole lot face up. Now, everyone knows exactly what each other have. You can choose exactly what you play and when. It becomes even tougher, even more strategic. Personally, I prefer to play it face down. Adds a nice little bit of luck that can make a big difference. I mean, I played one game where all my high-level leaders, like my first 5 tiles that I turned over, first 5 tokens, were my leaders. And that's all I'd had, was leaders. And so I was forced to kind of try and spread them out. And then, it's not surprising, I couldn't actually end up with control of any leader strings, except for one, where my A was. Because they were able to, the other player was then, when theirs came out, able to trump me wherever I had gone. So that made a huge difference to that game. So, and that also helps add the replay value. If you're playing face open, the only thing that's really going to add the replay value with that is the different decisions the players are making. If you're playing against the same people, it becomes very chess-like. There's not necessarily going to be that much. There will be a winning method to it. So yeah, I like that little element of luck. As I say, I don't know how often I'm going to get to play this, because it's not the kind of game my wife likes. She likes something with a bit more luck. But even then, she said she would be happy for us to keep this and play in the future. And so that's a really good endorsement from my wife there, really, for this kind of luck-light game, for her to say that. And then, of course, adding to the replay value is that, as well as having this starter side of the board, where you use all the spaces and 2 end up blank at the end of the game, you can then use the other side, which gives you a variable setup. Okay, it's not a hugely variable setup. There'll just be 4 different possibilities based on a random draw of tile. But still, that means that it's going to add extra variety and extra replay value to this. The randomization of when your tiles come up will add to the replay value. Yeah, I think this is a really good game, really well produced, really well put together. And does it work for 2 players? Well, it's a 2-player owned game, so yeah, it kind of has to work for 2 players. Could you try and do a variation playing with different people? Yes, I have actually tried doing one little variation, which was a team game where you're doing the 2 tiles at a time. Each player on the team does 1, and you're not allowed to communicate. So that was an interesting variation that I tried of my own, that you might want to try for playing it with more people. Okay, I do hope that you found this video useful and entertaining, and of course if you have, please do check out the rest of the videos on the channel, as well as subscribing to the channel and sharing it with your friends and family. And do also take a look at us on social media. You can find us on Facebook and on Twitter. And as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.